are not giving up. We are continuing to move forward. Shout out to Narendra. Shout out to Melissa. Shout out to everyone in this live. But I have to say this, please keep your personal comments to yourself. Please be respectful. Okay. Now I'm telling you guys this. Okay. We live in a country, we live in a world where we see a lot going on. Okay, no matter what your race, your gender is. Okay, no matter what nationality you come from. Okay, and I hope that the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, comes to some type of resolution, because too many people are going through it right now. And when I say going through it, when it comes down to their finances, when it comes down to their well-being, their safety, for their family, their lives. And sometimes you have to, put your differences to the side and agree to disagree. Because during that meeting that Zelensky had with the President Trump, I will say, yes, Russia, Putin, he should not be trusted, right? But with Zelensky's reasoning, saying that he cannot compromise with Russia, because Putin has showed time and time again that he will flip. He will say one thing and do another. And he mentioned that. And that's why he said that this ceasefire has to come with security guarantees. But my thing at this point, right, it's not fair for him to put the United States in a compromising position, because Trump did highlight that during the meeting. He did highlight the fact that in regards to what's been going on, United States has been continuing sending money and funding to Ukraine, but they have not had any security guarantees on their end. When it came down to they just been Joe Biden administration, Obama administration, they had continued to just send money out and not have it be a loan. Okay, and that's one thing he mentioned when it came down to the fact that Europe loaned Ukraine money. So Donald Trump is saying, we don't mind helping, but there has to be something that can benefit the United States. We cannot do any more, sending billions and billions of dollars and there is no resolution. And shout out to Melissa when Melissa said that, Zelensky, he has only admitted to receiving half of what Donald Trump stated as far as $300 billion. And Zelensky has only admitted to receiving half of that. So we have to kind of be honest. And I think Zelensky is not, and I have to concur with Donald Trump, that Zelensky is not being fair. And he's not in the actual position to give the energy that he gave yesterday. Right? He's not. And at this particular point in time, based off the actions of Zelensky, as well as Putin himself, right? We have to be honest, okay? But it's somebody's going to have to cease fire. Somebody's going to have to just stop this war that is going on. Okay? And shout out to Melissa. Melissa says, and the money is coming from Europe was a loan too. Absolutely. Melissa in the comments says, this meeting was only about signing the money deal through this, though this was not about the ceasefire. Trump wanted to sign 3 deal because it's a non-aggressive way for us to send defense to Ukraine. Exactly, non-lethal. Now, I don't know, maybe Zelensky thought that Donald Trump was going to, continue with this war, but he cannot continue, right? And shout out to Melissa. Melissa said it best, right? A non-aggressive way. Donald Trump wants this war to cease fire. And if it comes to any resources being coming from the United States in, it's going to have to be, in the words of Melissa said in the live herself, it has to be a non-aggressive way. And thank you guys for coming in. Now, I will say this, okay? Now, Trump has been coming for Joe Biden, okay? Now, does Joe Biden deserve all the truth? Yes, okay, he deserves the truths, okay? And the truths are that, yes, there has been billions and billions of dollars being sent to not only Ukraine, right? And Trump, he talked about Ukraine, but we have to be honest when it comes down to, we have another matter going on, right? And I'm not going to look, I don't want to get the feedback when it comes down to the Palestinians, when it comes down to Israel as well. I don't want to get the feedback, right? But I want Zelensky to really sit back and just understand the war between him and Russia is not the only war that is going on around the world. That is not the only war. And people cannot continue to just take care of him, right? And people, when I mean people, all of these countries, because that's how Zelensky came. That's just how he came. Now, as far as Joe Biden goes, okay, now Biden, like I stated, he has done a lot of things, okay? And in this meeting yesterday, I can't even count the number of times Donald Trump spoke about how bad the Biden administration, as well as the Obama administration, handled the matters between Ukraine and Russia. I cannot even count the number of times that was brought up. Okay. Now, when asked, okay, this is what was asked of Zelensky. Now, it was asked, okay, does he feel that United States is on his side? They asked him this, and he said that he thinks the United States, as well as President Trump, is on Ukraine's side. Now, he also stated that he thought, and this is why I think Zelensky, I don't know who's talking to Zelensky, but it seems as if Zelensky is not in reality check with the whole spectrum, right? And what do I mean? Because after he responded and said he feels that the United States and president is on his side, he said that he thinks that Trump will not stop the support, okay? The support with Ukraine. And he wanted Trump to gather other allies to stop Putin and end the war by getting Russia to withdraw. So on one side, he said, yes, he said, yes, Donald Trump and the United States is on our side, but I want allies. I want military. I need military defenses. I need everybody to be on Ukraine's side and help against Russia. That is the energy that Zelensky came with. That's the energy. Okay. And I'll say this, Trump tried to play it smooth. He did, but it was just enough was enough. Okay. And he had to give the hard truth to Zelensky during this meeting. Okay. He had to give the hard truth. And thank you guys for coming in. Carl Cook says, yeah, but if they came at you and your family knowing you're innocent, would you have anger and resentment to Biden too? Yes, Carl, I know what you're saying, because, and see, that is absolutely true, Carl. Carl Cook in the chat. Okay. And yes, you would have resentment. Yes, I would have resentment. I mean, that is absolutely true. Okay. But Trump said it best. He's trying to be the mediator at this point when it comes down to Ukraine and Russia. Okay. But Trump is going to always be what? He's always going to be very straight up, transparent, and say it for what it is. And the thing is, Zelensky cannot continue to get these billions and billions of dollars he let him know, okay, I am not Joe Biden. I am not Barack Obama at this point. At this point, we have to move forward. And shout out to Carl Cook for that, because yes, there would be some resentment. I think Donald Trump is very upset at how his name was put out there when it came down to the Biden administration as well as the Democrat side all together. So of course there would be some type of resentment. Okay, now I will say this: they did question Zelensky when it came down to why did he come to the White House without a suit? They did ask him that. Why did he come to the White House without a suit? Now, I think that was just a little petty. That was a little petty of someone in the White House asking Zelensky this during the meeting, why he didn't have a suit. And Zelensky said he has a lot of other things to look at other than to talk about a suit. Okay, why he wasn't wearing a suit. So I mean, this particular meeting yesterday was just, I've never seen something like this ever as long as I live, and I'm I'm serious. I've never seen where an actual official, a president from another country, gets kicked out of the White House. Okay, never seen that. And to top it all off, I've never seen an official act the way Zelensky acted in the meeting. Okay, and how he acted as if, I gotta call it for what it is. He acted as if he was a spoiled little kid, okay, that is wanting to get his way. And shout out to sister. Yes, I was thinking about doing that. I was thinking about doing some panels as well. I was trying to see how I was going to get all this together, okay? And sister, this is my question to you, sister, since you came out with the suggestion. Would you join the panel if I were to do that? Would you join the panel yourself? Like would you guys actually, come in and have a conversation on the panel? Would you join? Cara Cook, Melissa, Narendra, would you guys actually come in and join the panel? If I were to start an actual live that did panels, would you join it? That is the question. Now, I will say this. I will do another live, but it won't be like this. Okay, it won't be like this, and it'll be a little bit better. But before I move forward, I want to say that Donald Trump was planning on signing another executive order. Okay, and this executive order is to reverse the Bill Clinton, yes, the Bill Clinton order that was signed back on August the 11th of 2000. And this executive order is to officially declare, okay, on the books, English as national language here in the United States. And this upcoming executive order will reverse like I said, the 2000 executive order that Bill Clinton signed back on August the 11th, that required, okay, this order required federal government programs and recipients who receive federal funds to provide language assistance to non-English speakers. Okay, and this is what Trump promised. He wants to reverse this mandate that Bill Clinton signed. Okay, and Donald Trump promised during his election that this particular executive order as a way to show United States that they are united, that it is united in a official national language. Okay, but some critics feel that this will set back. Some critics do feel that this will cause a setback in regards to civil rights. Okay, so this is why Bill Clinton, he made this executive order. He made this executive order in regards to civil rights, all right, to protect this to protect and stand by Civil Rights Act of 1964. However, people have to realize when it comes down to Donald Trump and the Trump administration, they do not want to stand by what? DEI, because here during this administration, that is appearing to look as what? Discrimination. That is where they're standing on. So here is Donald Trump now. He's saying that, okay, we're going to have to reverse what Bill Clinton signed, and it is time to have an official language for the United States, and that will be English. And as you guys know, he signed an executive order, okay, a while back, okay, when it came down to officially changing Gulf of Mexico into Gulf America. So Donald Trump is doing some things to actually show the world, okay, as well as show the people that voted for him, the 75 million people that voted for him to be the 47th president. He is showing them, okay, that at this point, that United States is going to be united and show the world that United States is united. Not only united when it comes down to language, we're going to be united when it comes down to no longer sending out billions and billions of dollars to other countries while we are going, quote unquote, broke. Okay, so he is doing that. And thank you guys for coming in. Eula's sister says, so you would join the panel. Narendra says they would join the panel. Okay, I'll take that in the I'll put that down. Narendra says, I remember Zelensky ran to Prime Minister Modi, begging him literally to ask Putin to stop the war. Now when Trump wants peace, he is backing out. Now, shout out to Narendra. That's why a lot of people are feeling that President of Ukraine, Zelensky, needs to just step down, okay, from his position. Because it seems as if, me outside looking in, it seems as if he is at this particular point saying one thing, doing another, because he's going off of emotion. And he's not thinking in the future for the country of Ukraine, for the future. So at this particular point, I don't know what it's going to take for Zelensky to just, he's going to have to take that risk. And when I say take that risk at this point, make a decision and stand on it. And when I say make a decision and stand on it at this point, he's going to just have to cease fire and take the risk, okay, that maybe Putin may not be a person of his word, but he cannot afford it. Carl says Zelensky has done some bad things in his country. I think he's scared of it getting out. At this point, I think Zelensky is scared. Okay, I think Zelensky is scared if he steps down. Okay, and I'm trying to be very careful how I word it on this platform, but I think Zelensky is scared. I'm gonna just leave it at that. He's very scared in regards to him not having that protection. Okay, if he steps down from being president of Ukraine versus him just, once he steps down, he'll just be a civilian. Okay, being honest, I'm just calling it for what it is. But at this point, too many people's lives have been affected from this war between Russia and Ukraine. Too many people. Yes, allegedly. Shout out to Melissa. And thank you guys for coming in. Now, I will also say this. Carl Cook says, yep, the name change was strategic for our energy. Melissa says he changed the name because Biden signed something trying to stop drilling in Gulf of Mexico for 10 years. So Trump changed the name. Yes, and also I want to make people understand this. Mexico is suing. Yes, they have filed a lawsuit against Google. They're planning. I don't know if they have filed it allegedly. Okay, when it comes down to Google officially changing the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. So at this particular point now, it's just looking like, Donald Trump is covering corners. Okay, he's covering himself. He's learned, what to do and what not to do from his first term as president. So this particular term as president, of course, Donald Trump is going to be a little bit more aggressive. Okay, and aggressive in the sense that he's letting other countries know you're not going to continue to take funding here in America from us, and we are finally going to take a stand. Take a stand. Melissa says there may be they may be suing, but Google is an American company, so I don't think it will stand. And Mexico is actually a part of America too. Great point. Great point. Shout out to Carl Cook and Narendra and Melissa in the comments. Narendra says there is a ceasefire and elections are held. Zelensky will flee Ukraine. That's why he wants the war to continue. And see, that goes back to, like I stated, shout out to Narendra. That is why I feel, Zelensky wants to, he doesn't want to just, end like that. Okay, he doesn't. Now, will he, quote unquote, continue in his position as the president of Ukraine? I'm not sure. But the way he is moving, I'll say it this way: the way he is moving, Trump said it best. Okay, the cards are not in Zelensky's hand. The cards are in the U.S. hands at this point when it comes down to moving forward, continuing with this war. Melissa says every single other country charges us tariffs to sell products in their country, and we don't charge them tariffs to sell in our country. Absolutely. So that's why I say at this point, this is why Donald Trump is taking a stand. This is why Donald Trump is taking a stand at this point. Melissa says, except for China, which Trump tariffed in his first term, and Biden kept the tariffs in places his term. It kept the tariffs in place in his term. Yes. So at this point, I want people to just take just look at the whole spectrum. And when it comes down to Bill Clinton, Donald Trump is taking a stand not only with reversing a number of executive orders when it came down to the past president Joe Biden, but just like I stated, Donald Trump is planning to reverse, executive orders from past presidents, such as, like I stated, Donald Trump is planning to sign a new executive order to reverse what Bill Clinton had signed, 25 years ago, almost 25 years ago. So Donald Trump is taking a stand to let not only the world know, in my opinion, his country know, but put himself in the history, in the book of, in regards to, taking the stand. Now, going back into the comments, Narendra says to all the Democrats, going back to, what are you saying? What are you saying, Narendra? Going back into the comments, Narendra says, to all the Democrats, I have a question. Why did you all not raise questions when Obama started the Arab Springs? Whoa. And destabilized the whole Middle East. What about Syria and Iraq? Great question. This is why at this point Trump is, coming as aggressive the way he's coming, because Narendra, you made a great point. And I think somebody else, the last live, they made a point when it came down to, as far as, you want to call out Donald Trump for things. Like, let's look at what's been going on with these other countries. Let's look at the whole thing. So I'm glad that that he's taking a stance. Now, before I end this live, I will state this. Okay. I thank you guys for being patient with me. There is just a lot going on my end. I tell you. But before I end, I wanted to actually make an announcement when it came down to a singer that passed away by the name of Angie Stone. She passed away today in a car accident as she was coming from Alabama from a tour, and she was coming. I want to make sure this is correct. She was coming from Alabama heading back to Baltimore, and she got into an accident where it allegedly caused her Sprinter to flip 3 times. So I wanted to actually, tell people in regards to that before I end this live, like, you have to not give up and live every day to the fullest. Live every day to the fullest, right? Because you never know. You never know what tomorrow, foretells. You never know what will come. And when it comes down to Donald Trump, one thing I would say about him, people can, we can have our differences with, this Trump administration, with the Republicans, but I want people to understand this with Republicans as well as with Democrats, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. Need I say more? But I will say this. When it comes down to Angie Stone, she passed away at the age of 63, and she passed away a day after celebrating her son's birthday. He turned 28 yesterday. Okay, so that's why I want people to understand, you have to live life to the fullest. You have to, move forward and not give up, no matter what comes your way. And I want people to understand that, things can happen. Things can actually happen, but you are in control of your life. So thank you guys for coming in and reading the comments. Narendra says, yes, Iraq was a safe place. It was contaminated. Now you have people running over people in the United Kingdom, Germany. Melissa says, rest in peace. And Melissa says, the Bushes as well. But yes, like I stated, when it comes down to, living your life and not giving up, I will say this, I'm pushing forward. I'm not going to give up no matter what on this particular platform. There has been a number of challenges, right? And shout out to someone, I'm not going to say their name, but they did tell me, not to give up no matter what, people, say on this platform, no matter what I go through, because I'm trying. Please be patient. Thank you for being patient. If you're not, please, I beg you, I will not give up this channel. I will not delete this channel. It was a lot going on. Okay, a lot going on. And I will say this, people such as Donald Trump, I will say also this, all the things that Donald Trump has been through, okay, to get back into his position, okay, because I tell you right now, I would not want to be President Trump right now. I really would, because he, if you think about it, and I said this early, like a few lives back, he has signed over 70, what is it now, 75, 76 executive orders, right? And a lot of Democrats are very upset, and not only Democrats, because there has been a number of cuts in federal funds as well as the federal government, right? there has been a number of cuts. A number of people, are, upset in the present of what's going on. Okay. Melissa says there are certain demographics. You have certain political leanings on YouTube who you are being targeted. Hang in there, girl, and don't let them silence you. Oh my God, you about to make me cry, Melissa. Oh boy. Yes, I'm trying. I really, really am trying. I really, really am. And I will say this, and thank you guys for coming in. Please hit that like button. But I will say this, okay? And this, I'm standing on this. I'm gonna say it. Thank you, Melissa. I needed to read that. I needed to feel that. I'm reading it. I'm taking it in what you say, because people don't understand that, when you are on a platform such as this, okay, yes, you do have people that want to not see you make it. They want to see you not be successful. And that is with anything in life. When people think that you're doing better than them, and I'm going to call it for what it is, when they think you're doing better than them, right? They want to see you not be successful. They want to, out of jealousy, out of spite. And I would even say this, that goes with anything you go in life. Okay. Especially, and I hate to say this, shout out to Melissa, when it comes down to certain demographics. Yes, you're absolutely right. And that is why people, I'm not going to say no names. Okay. I'm not going to be a messy person, but if you're listening to this live, you know who you are, right? Okay, for those who want to talk mess about this platform, talk about me or anything, I would love for you to put yourself in my shoes. Okay, I would love for you to put yourself in anybody's shoes that comes onto this platform in the chat as well. And it is not an easy task, because, like I said, and I'm standing on this, I don't have people, sending me things. I don't have people watching other people channels for me and trying to hurt their channels. I'm not that type of person. But like I stated, these are things that I go through, okay? And it is, shout out to Melissa, what you said when it comes down to, certain demographics, especially when you talk about certain political leanings. You're absolutely right. Okay? But like I stated, and I'm standing on this, I welcome everybody. I welcome everybody, no matter what gender you are, no matter what race you are, nationality you are. I welcome everybody, because whether you like it or not, I support everybody. I do. Now, if you don't support me, that's on you. But I'm not going to change my political standings. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not. And thank you guys for coming in. Shout out to Melissa. I had to get it out after reading what you said. Shout out to Narendra. Shout out to everybody that has came into this live. Thank you so much for coming in. And Melissa says you could have run a pro-left platform and gotten all sorts of funding from people. It takes true stones to go against the narrative. And I'm going to actually highlight that. I'm going to highlight that. Shout out to Narendra. Shout out to Melissa. Let me find you, Melissa. Gotta highlight it. Narendra says truth, facts, and logic cannot be silent. Shout out to Narendra. Shout out to Narendra. Melissa says it's not just you. If you think you are special, if you think you are specifically being targeted, it is very much happening. The Melissa says you could have run a pro-left. Let me go ahead and highlight that. Melissa says you could have run a pro-left platform and gotten all sorts of funding from people. It takes true stones to go against the narrative. And shout out to Melissa. Narendra says just most of the people who flew the plane. Narendra. saying, really, Narendra? And I'm about to read the whole thing. Melissa says, I just remember. Oh my goodness, Melissa. Well, thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it so much. And I will, move forward no matter what. It's a lot going on. I'm trying not to cry. I'm trying not to get emotional, but I'm telling you right now, for anybody